Hello, everyone. I would like to start by introducing myself. I am Gabrielle Murdoch, and my presentation will be on the Netflix documentary Camp Confidential America's Secret Nazi. To begin, it is important to know that this documentary is based on the audio recordings of Mr. Arno Meyer and a Mr. Peter Weiss. These men joined the army to battle German Nazis who pushed them out of their homeland and instead were sent to P.O. Box 1142 for servitude. Mr. Brandon Vise on the right was the man lucky enough to interview these men on their brief time spent in the American Army. P.O. Box 1142, conveniently called Camp Confidential in this documentary, was a secret military base that interrogated German prisoners of war and German Nazi scientists in a newfound diplomatic political way. As we start our journey recounting these two soldiers' days at P.O. Box 1142, we must begin at the beginning. These men were recruited for their ability to speak German, and they were handpicked from their camps that they were already at. Mr. Arno was imported from Texas, and Mr. Peter Wise was delivered from North Carolina to Camp Ritchie for interrogation training, and then from there they were driven to the Pentagon for basic fundamental training at Washington, D.C., and then from there they were delivered by truck to P.O. Box 1142. Upon arrival, these men were told that this base was nothing, that they did nothing, and that their job required nothing from them. However, the camp was the grandest resort possible. With tennis courts, volleyball courts, pools, and a track, both men were taken back at this new, unforeseen assignment. Their mission was simple: interrogation. Beginning at P.O. Box 1142, the men slowly understood that this mission was secret and that their job was to gain intelligence and nothing more. They were monitored by other American soldiers, and the field that they stayed in didn't hold more than about 100 officers and then 100 more prisoners. Their first mission was to interrogate the prisoners by being friendly, figure out something about V 2 rockets while playing chess, ask them about what they did in Germany, how their involvement in the Nazi Party benefited the war efforts. These V 2 rockets were produced by many German scientists, the most popular being a Mr. Werner von Braun. Now, this first mission was successful as the men of P.O. Box 1142 were able to identify an underground factory called Peenemünde. This factory built V 2 rockets and produced the majority of them for the German army. This was amazing turning point of World War II, and it led to the end of the war in September of 1945. However, just because one war ended didn't mean that a new race had begun. The camp was now faced with a new mission: acquiring and accommodating German rocket scientists, primarily Werner von Braun, as seen in this picture. Werner's experience at P.O. Box 1142 was one of privilege. Here, these war criminals were treated as heroes, and the soldiers in charge hated it. Mr. Arno and Mr. Peener vividly recount their jobs at P.O. Box 1142, and on multiple occasions simply call themselves escorts to these German scientists. Now, sadly, every mission has to come to an end, and in 1946, P.O. Box 1142 was bulldozed, destroying almost all documentation of the camp. Now, the impact of this documentary may not seem big, however, it does pull at the emotional heartstrings of viewers. Here, this camp forced Jewish soldiers to cater to these criminals for the sake of the country. The interview reports of Arno Mayer and Peter Wise describe the anger and hatred they felt towards their orders of being servants to these war criminals. However, in the end, the United States did benefit from the scientific revelations of these scientists. However, these audio recordings leave an impact on our nation as we have little information regarding P.O. Box 1142. As previously stated, many documentations were destroyed in 1946, while others were sealed as classified. This camp exposes the American agenda, prioritizing rocket development over seeing through to the punishment of these war criminals. Although the government did benefit from this decision, as these German scientists were the only reason why the United States were the first nation to land on the moon, viewers must ask if the ends justify the means.